Hello and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews. It's Gaming Friday. I'm Gary.
And I'm smelling one of Gary's farts.
Oh, thanks for that, Ian. And today we are taking a look at Rage, which came out in 2011, and it was developed by id Software and published by Bethesda Softworks, Square Enix Holdings, and Aspyr.
Aspyr.
Yeah. And of course, this game was available on the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, the PC, Mac, and I think there was an iOS game for it as well as a companion piece, something else, something different.
Yeah.
And interestingly, this Rage was the final game released by id Software under the supervision of John Carmack.
Ah.
And of course, John Carmack, is the legend behind id Software, really.
Yes.
Wolfenstein 3D, Doom,
Yes.
Quake,
Yeah.
of those other games.
Yes.
Not even close.
Yeah, but it was so fucking good.
It was a really good game, but it had its shortcomings.
Yes, it did.
And, interestingly, there is still there was a sequel planned for the game. I think there was pretty much a whole trilogy, at least, planned for the game.
Yeah.
And it wasn't shortly after the game got released that they said, not making Rage 2.
Well,
right
that's
now.
it.
And then John Carmack left the company.
It just didn't sell as well as it should have been doing. I mean,
It was highly advertised. The promotions were everywhere for it. The early trailer came out years before the game's actual final release.
Yeah, but it came out at the time. I mean, we're talking Xbox 360. It came out when
Towards
a
the
lot
end
of
of its- yeah.
first-person shooters were going for Battlefield and Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Gears was making its big benchmark at that point, and
Of course,
we
yeah.
hadn't heard anything from id Software in a long time. That when Rage came out, people were kind of like, eh. But I remember you got this.
Yeah, I got this the day it came out.
You got this when it came out, and then you were just like, Ian, you've got to play this game. And I was just like, really? Why? Yes, you'll really, really enjoy it, apart from the fact that, it ends so abruptly. And I was like, oh, cheers, thanks for that. Spoilers.
Well, yeah, that was the big thing. It's selling its weakest point. We'll just get straight to its negatives now. Is the story.
Yes.
Now, we've just had that beautiful introduction animation, which has explained that the world has kind of gone to crap after a meteor or a comet has struck the planet.
Yeah.
And lots of people were put in vaults to keep them safe and would emerge. The vaults would wake them up when the planet was habitable again.
Yeah.
And, it's a very, very much Bethesda in terms of Fallout, in terms of being in a vault to begin with and coming out. But this game drops lots and lots of dialogue. There's lots of dialogue in the game, but it's nowhere near as in-depth as, say, a Fallout game.
Yes.
This is very much an action-orientated first-person shooter. It doesn't have a VATS-type system. It's very much, it's all about that riveting action. It's non-stop, although there are a few moments where you slow down the combat, but no, it's nothing quite like Fallout, despite it feeling very much like one. I guess I would say it's a mixture of, like, Fallout with Borderlands mixed with BioShock, and then throw in some Mad Max 2 in there as well.
Yeah. It's a whole mixture of different games, and I enjoyed this a lot more than I enjoyed Fallout, mainly because in Fallout it was kind of like a stop and start motion. I'd get into a bunch of fights, and then I've got to do like a fucking hour-long dialogue sequence with somebody and try and convince them to do something. This, you don't have that. You walk in the place, the person says, here's your mission, and then you just go and do it.
Well, I would say this game is RPG light. Like,
yes.
Very fucking light.
Very fucking light, yeah.
But it's the fact that you have more weapons that you can upgrade, your vehicle, which we'll get into in a bit, which you can upgrade, and there are lots of side missions.
Yes.
Now, you have your main quest missions, which will move the story onwards, but then you have lots of side missions, which you'll go and use to go and, I'd say, explore, but there's not really that much exploration. It's a case of driving to somewhere and then fulfilling the mission just for some extra upgrade points.
Yeah. You usually just go, they tell you to go somewhere, you go in there and you kill everybody.
Yeah. And it's the same with every one of the missions. Is you'll drive to the start of that mission, you'll go in there, and often or not, the mission will end with you coming out where you went into it.
Yeah.
You get back in your vehicle, and off you go again. Now, this game was advertised as being that. It was jump into the combat. You gotta love the bobbing head
The
there
bobbing
straight
heads
away.
are awesome.
Yeah. And so they really wanted to add the vehicle combat into the game.
Yes.
And
which was something Fallout always was missing.
which was vehicles, yeah. And so, again, going with the Mad Max angle with these beat-up, apocalyptic-looking cars.
Yeah.
And then attaching different weapons and spike blades onto them and all sorts of different things. You can almost get a Burnout, Destruction Derby-esque feel.
Yeah.
But it literally became a case of the vehicle elements were a case of you need a vehicle to drive to your next mission.
Yeah.
And then also fight things along the way. It got a little bit repetitive. It got also a little bit frustrating at times.
Yeah.
And so you had to go and get those upgrades in order to... Because some of those missions would be timed missions. Get across the flipping canyon.
Yeah.
Get across the map in under 3 minutes. So you'll need to be familiar with the roads and which ways you can go. And that means you need to keep replaying it so that you can reduce that time down in order to complete some of those missions.
And then on top of that, though, it's like you didn't just get the upgrades. You had to earn them in the races. And the
Yes.
races were hard anyway.
Yeah.
That when
Sometimes
you-
they were straight races and sometimes they were weapons included races.
Yeah, and then once you've upgraded your vehicle, then you could then move on. Then you could decide, right, I can use that now to get to point B, or now I can use it to go into these other races and kick more ass and get more upgrades. And by the time you get your upgraded car, nothing can stop you.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, there was a couple of interesting things that this game added, which worked quite well, and that was, often or not when you die in a video game, that's it. You load to the last autosave,
Yeah.
or to the last Vita chamber, or
Yeah.
or anything like it. I like the fact that in this one it gives you a chance when you die, because you have your own personal defibrillator.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so when you're dying, you've kind of got it's like a quick time event where you have to line up the buttons and then hold both the triggers together.
God, I
and then
forgot
you get
about that,
your
yeah.
self defib unit, which you can upgrade, and then it sort of electrocutes and stuns everyone around you, which is it's a cool little mechanic. But I think you can only defib yourself so many times. Again, it's something else you can upgrade, so you can defib yourself more.
Yeah, I think you used it and then you had to wait for it to recharge before you could
so
do
if
it.
you died again, then you
were fully
dead.
fucking dead.
Yeah.
Which made it more stressful in situations because you
Yeah.
didn't want to go down again because you didn't have that luxury of just hiding behind cover and just hoping to get back up again.
Yeah. Now, this game had also some great voice actors, if I'm right. Was that John Goodman?
That's John Goodman, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I think there was also some other interesting voice actors in the game as well, which adds a good element to the characters. It gives them, an extra bit of gravitas when you've got, award-winning actors delivering performances. I always like, I hate the term celebrity voice actors. But when you get
Yeah.
voice actors that can really deliver a character, even when it's not their facial animations or anything, sound alone is good. And the music to this game is also really good. It has that sort of Western, on the frontier sort of angle to it.
Yeah.
Which, again, is just great for world building.
I completely missed what he said to me, so hold on.
I think he wants you to pick up stuff. And then,
Talk is cheap. First, take the pistol and supplies. Yeah. And I'll give you some old arc armor. Yes. I'll accept that mission.
so yeah, it's been a good 6 years since I last played the game
Yeah, yeah.
well.
been
Now,
a
what do you
while.
think of the art style?
I always liked the way this game looked, which, like I said, was upsetting that they never tried to expand it. It's like I said, when you said to me that there was a cutoff point, this first section that we're in, it expands to quite a lot in the game. But once you get past that point of no return, you lose that and you're in this other area and then it's just a race to the end. So I was just like, they should have just kept it in this one area, and then DLC maybe would unlock the other big things.
Well, there were 2 DLCs for the game. The first one was the Wasteland Sewer missions,
Right.
which basically had you going, as you might guess, into the sewer systems of some of the cities from the game and dealing with the infestation in there.
Yeah.
The second DLC was the Scorchers, which was a lot more story orientated. It was basically the Scorchers, which they basically turn up and they had, and you can imagine what sort of weapons they use from the name. They're
Yeah.
flamethrower and fire orientated weaponry. They will sort of ambush you when you're traveling between missions, or basically when you're out in the wilderness or in the wastelands. They will
Yeah.
attack you with their flamethrower vehicles and whatnot. And there's they decide that they're going to lay waste to the whole of the wasteland with fire in that DLC, and you have to go and stop them. None of the DLC... I mean, the DLC sees you still being the hero and saving everybody.
Yeah,
But it doesn't continue the main storyline, which, as we've said, is the weakest point, because it gets to a point in the end, at the end of the game, where it cliffhangers, and then, as we heard, no sequel, no follow-up, the DLC doesn't continue it, and so, despite it having great characters, some really interesting characters, there's some bizarre sort of apocalyptic characters that are in the game. I remember the Doctor sort of moving around on with giant robotic arms.
Yeah.
There are some fascinating characters. I also remember there's an amusement park where
you fight zombies.
It's like a TV show, you know, and you go in there and
that's how you make money for ages,
and that's how you can also make money as well. So there's lots of interesting, side moments. Like when you're on a mission and just interesting characters will pop up and just open a hatch and just go, yeah, you're going to die, and then the hatch closes and the elevator, drops down all its floors. There are some lovely moments in the game, and what I like is that the missions themselves are full of interesting things to look at. Just like looking at those markers up there, the skeletal sort of warnings to say this is our turf.
Yes.
Lots of the levels are littered with corpses, and they're arranged in horrific sort of religious sort of ways, and it's gory, and it's violent, and it's ugly, and the art style is, it's almost comic book ink, with its outlines and everything else. Something it's almost cel shaded like Borderlands.
Yeah.
So it has that sort of cartoonish look. But if you at this loading screen, you can see some of the enemies there. They're horrific looking. The sounds that they make and the different. That if you have up the difficulty, the different ways that they come at you, because the enemies in this game are bullet sponges.
Yes.
They take a lot of hits to go down, especially if they're wearing helmets. You're going to need to take off the helmet in order before you get the headshot. Now, there is a lot of weapons available in the game, all pretty much standard: pistol, shotgun, assault rifle, sniper rifle, and there's nothing exciting there, but each of the weapons has multiple different ammo types. You know, it's kind of other games have done it as well, where you kind of, it's almost like you're expending your currency.
Yes.
To have better to do better damage. In some cases, you're going to need to mix up your ammo depending on which enemies you're fighting, and then on the later areas when you're fighting multiple different enemies, you'll find yourself switching weapons and switching ammo to best combat the situation.
Yeah.
But it's fluid and it works. And right now you can see that there are locked door mechanisms, and you're going to need to find different keys in order to break open certain doors. At some points in the game, you're going to have multiple doors to open. You're not going to have enough keys, and you're going to have to make the right choices and hope you get the right, upgrades or power supplies in different rooms.
If I remember rightly, it's also like the supplies. You use the supplies to build stuff.
As you're scavenging the lands and just looking through empty hallways and rooms, you will find supplies, and then, you have a crafting system. So you're like, I need to make more ammo. I need to make more of this. I want to upgrade this.
Motherfucker! Why wouldn't you die?
Now, this game also has one of my favourite weapons I've ever held in a video game.
Yes.
Can you remember what it is, Ian?
I think is it the wingtip?
It's the wing sticks or the wing tips.
Yeah.
Yes, it's basically a throwing weapon. It's like a three-pronged blade.
Yeah, well, it's that boomerang from Crow.
Yes, or from Blade.
Yeah.
And you just throw it, and you can. And as you upgrade it as well, you throw it, you get a decapitation, you watch the head spin in the air and the blood spraying up. But then you upgrade that wing stick and you throw it, and you decap 3 of them in one go, and then you manage to catch the blade and you don't expend any ammo.
Yes.
And it is so freaking sweet. It is so satisfying, because the moment you've thrown it, you're also switching back to your assault rifle or shotgun and shooting, and then catching the wing stick and throwing it again. It is so frenetic, and it's so smooth.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things I have to say about this game as well, is that its frame rate and its run and the way that it runs is silky smooth. I've never really noticed this game stutter or pause or hang or crash at all throughout its game time.
I got you in the face, bitch.
I guess there is only one other criticism I can have, in the fact that because it runs so smoothly, sometimes the texture pop in you'll catch it. You know, you'll do a quick 180 and turn around, and you'll see that the couch or the wall just quickly texturizes in front of you, and you're like, you know, could be better, but it's solid. The whole experience is solid.
One of the greatest bits I always found in this game was the secrets that they had.
Yes.
Obviously, id put in a lot of Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein secrets.
Yes. This was something that they did in Doom as well.
Yeah, but you find them like halfway through a level, and you have to hit a couple of switches. They're really hidden. You have to look for them. You find the switches. You open up this door, and you'll be standing looking at graphics, you know, of nowadays on the 360. Fucking motherfucker. But then you look through this door, and you're looking at graphics from Doom 1. And I would stand there like looking at the Rage graphics and then looking at the Doom graphics like, what the, you know, there was no slowdown. You didn't have to load or anything. You literally stepped through a door and you were in Doom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was amazing. Like I said, there was something that they copied very well into Doom as well. It was, Easter eggs and secrets like that are fantastic. I love them. It keeps you exploring, keeps you looking around. You pull a lever and I don't know what that did. So you go wandering around some more until, you find those secrets. So it's very, very satisfying. Like I said, there are quite a diverse amount of enemies as well. There are those that will just run at you for melee. Then there are those that will play duck hunt with you and hide behind cover. And then there's those that are on full amounts of armor. And then there are some bosses that are truly gigantic in comparison. And makes for some great moments. You're like, how many of my rockets will I fire at it? How many do I want to save for after this encounter? So this game also had multiplayer.
Right, okay.
But in my opinion, the multiplayer was pretty unoriginal.
Right.
And it didn't have enough content to keep me coming back to it.
Yeah.
The main issue with it was that there was 9 co-op campaigns or co-op missions.
Right, okay.
Which, when you play the single-player story, there are moments where the characters will make reference to something that's happened or things that have happened before. And basically those 9 missions sort of play out some of those other scenarios.
Yeah.
It's not very rewarding. All you are playing those single-player missions for is for a scoreboard on the leaderboards. And that's not very satisfying. So right now we're looking at the defib moment. So quickly line up to the white spots. Yep. Left and right trigger. Yep. And then again. And again. Yeah. Oh,
I got it.
No, I think you got it.
Yeah, I got it.
A little bit off, but
Yeah, just off. But
I think it was just giving you the tutorial of defibbing.
Yeah, managed to electrocute your ass.
And so the other multiplayer was the vehicle combat. And,
Right, okay.
But it was a case of, it was like a racetracks, and as you drive around the racetrack, you can go in any direction you want to, really. You're basically aiming to pick up power points, and whoever's got the most power points at the end of the time limit is the winner. And if you kill your opponent who's got those power-ups, they drop those power all over the place, and then everyone else gets a chance to scramble and pick up that power. And there was, as you were playing the races, you can upgrade your weapons and customize the weapons you want and your vehicle for the specific track or your play style. But it didn't really make that much difference, and the longevity of playing that multiplayer didn't go very far. They never really added any extra content to it.
Yeah.
And I felt the whole experience of the multiplayer was very shallow, and it didn't last with a couple of weeks of playing before I'd moved on to something else.
I never did the multiplayer. I just wanted to play the story mode. You know, nobody was playing the multiplayer, so I was just like, well...
Yeah. It died. It died very quickly.
Why am I going to even try?
And so, again, you are just left with a single-player experience, which, the criticisms were there for its ending, which was cut short. And, a lot of the missions are very generic as well for a first-person shooter. But the way that it plays, and the way that it handles, and the fluidity of the combat is exceptional. It is awesome. It is what you can see as the blueprint for Doom.
Yeah.
Where they just went, we want the fluidity. It's almost the dance of combat.
Yes.
Where you learn how to move and dodge and counter and the gunplay. And so this was really the building blocks for what would become Doom. And now that Doom was a mega success in 2011.
Yes.
And this game, or the Rage's sequel, was pretty much put on hold for that version of Doom. Now, we also see Bethesda and id are working on the next Quake game.
Yes.
Now, I honestly believe that once that Quake has come out, we will see a follow-up to this game. I honestly believe that it will happen. And so I would also say to people that because I actually believe we will see a Rage 2, that you should go back and get this game. I can imagine you'll get this game dirt cheap on PC, on Steam.
Yeah.
You'll pick it up pre-owned, second-hand, whatever, on the console. You probably get it for less than $5, £5. And if you only pay £3 for this game, you're going to get at least 10, maybe 12 hours, maybe up to 24 hours if you decide to play through the game and then really enjoyed the combat, and then you want the challenge of playing this game on its hardest difficulty. One of the DLCs actually added an even more harder difficulty to the game. So the challenge is there, and if you like id games and you like their combat system, hell yeah. Like, if you never played this one, if you just saw the reviews for it and were like, yeah, they're pretty good, but there's not enough content there for me for 40 quid or $40, now go back and pick up the game. You're gonna have a good time with it. I guarantee it.
That's it. I mean, I know that they brought out the new Quake, but I'm like, I had enough with Doom multiplayer.
Yeah.
You know, Quake Champions, that's for Quake players. That's for people who just want to play only multiplayer. That's fine, but, you know, that's not my cup of tea. If they take the money they make from that and decide to make a sequel to this, yeah, I'd be happy with it.
Yeah.
I could play a Rage 2 just for shits and giggles. And they don't even have to make you be the character you are in this one. You know, they could make up their own new you could make up your own new character, new storyline, new people to meet. Expand on the missions a bit. Don't end it so abruptly. You know, just give us something to get behind.
Yeah. Just well, obviously if they keep the combat system which they developed for Doom, and then drop it into this universe, do you reckon they should change the graphical style to compete more with, say, Doom's graphics, or do you think they should keep this art style?
No, you should keep it. You should keep it like this. Keep it dirty.
To
keep
differentiate
it
from the others.
Yeah, keep it this apocalyptic wasteland. Don't make the combat too much like Doom, because Doom's combat works in a way it always has. It's run and gun. It's always has been.
Other than Doom 3.
Other than Doom 3, yeah. But, you know, old school Doom, Doom 1, Doom 2, Final Doom, it's run and gun. You're on the edge of your ass trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
This, I never got that. I was a survivalist, yes, but I used my mind. If I wanted to move sneakily, I'd move sneakily. You know, I'd choose my targets, who to kill first. You don't do that in Doom.
No.
In Doom, you literally just walk in a room and go, right, everything in here is going to die.
Pretty much.
You know, you can't crouch with a chainsaw.
No. So yeah, you recommend Rage?
I definitely recommend Rage. If you're an id fan and you never played it, go back and knock it off your bucket list. It's worth the time. It does end abruptly, but don't think like that. You've got a lot in the way before you get to the end. Plus the wing sticks are just fucking worth the whole time. If I remember rightly, it does get really, really gory, especially when you start using grenades.
Oh yes, yeah,
you know?
And basically you just leave, you know, bloody explosions behind you. It's
That's
just
it.
a bloodbath.
You know?
Yeah.
If you want a survivor, ooh, look at that! It's got grenades. Right, where is it?
There we go.
There we go.
High explosive grenade
what's
coming
the
up.
button? Left trigger? Oh, no.
Nope.
Left bumper. There we go.
Nope.
A little timer.
And we missed the bloodbath, but
Yeah,
you know we knew he went.
Missed. Oh,
Yeah.
you survived. You got that cover. Oh, you survived. Yeah. If you like post-apocalyptic survival wasteland games, then yeah, this one's definitely one of those to pick up. It's got a lot more entertaining aspects than Fallout, I'd say.
We see,
But
that's
it's not. But it's not got too much RPG-ness that
Yeah.
you'll get lost.
It
you
is.
know?
It is a mixture of the two, and so that's what I was gonna say with the level design. Like with Fallout, the entire the entire map is there, and you can go wandering around buildings and try and pick up, you know, elements of story or history that has occurred here.
Yeah.
With Rage, you don't even have to think too much about it because it's a linear, you know, corridors that you're going through, and the path is pretty much laid out for you.
Yeah.
all of the little moments that the game wants you to experience, all of the little beats, you're going to experience them. You're not going to miss anything.
Yeah.
Whereas with Fallout, you could, complete 3 playthroughs and then still go, oh, I never encountered that character, and I never saw that play out, or or so on, or I never even went to those locations in the game.
Yeah.
At
And
least
you've
with
got to
this
go
one,
back and do it
you
all
will
again.
get all of it in a single playthrough. So there's that much to be said. And as you said, as we said, it's RPG light. So there's only really powering up your character to the extent that's within the game. You can't become overpowered.
Yeah.
Like a Fallout game, So, but yeah, as I've said quite a few times, it's all about the combat, the fluidity of it, the control of it. It works. It was a solid foundation, and I was disappointed that it didn't get all of the love that it needed. And I say that, but this game still received nothing short of 7s to 9s out of 10. And it's just the fact that it was critically reviewed.
Yeah.
But it just didn't sell enough, which is a shame. And yeah, so yeah, I definitely recommend Rage. I wouldn't at this point in time pay more than £5 for it. I think you'll definitely get your money's worth if you go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's going to be it from us here on Off the Shelf Reviews this Gaming Friday. I just want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next Friday with another video game. Of course, film reviews on Thursdays. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Patreon. Take it easy, everyone. See you next time.